In this video, I'll teach you how to make a head and body base for Mini Funko Pop dolls. I received so many messages from people asking me to create a base like this that is very simple, almost seamless. So yeah, let's dive into this tutorial. In today's video, I'll teach you how to make a head and body base for Mini Funko Pop dolls. I received so many messages from people asking me to create a base pattern like this for Amigurumi dolls, especially the square head Funko Pop. So that's what we will learn how to do today. There's been almost a year that I created another video here called How to Crochet a Perfect Square Head, and I'll leave the link for this video in the description down below. But in this tutorial here, I'll teach you how to make a small square head like this one and this body pattern, which is almost seamless. So let's get it started. So the material that we need to create this beautiful head and body here is the yarn, of course. The one that I used is Friends Cotton Mercerized 100% cotton yarn from Hobby. You can use other types of yarn, but I won't focus on it in this video. There are other videos here in the channel where I talk about recommended yarns for amigurumis. Stuffing, stitch markers, I don't live without them. The crochet hook I use is the 2.2 millimeters from Tulip. Safety eyes, this is 11 millimeter size, and you can use this. I bought in AliExpress. I can leave the link down below if you want, but you can use other types of safety eyes. And just so you know, this doll here measures 7 centimeters. This is very small. So let's start the tutorial. So let's start creating our body. We start with a magic ring. And inside the magic ring, round number 1, we make 8 single crochets. So I'll make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 single crochets. This is my round number 1. Pull the thread to close the magic ring. And now on round number 2, let me take a stitch marker here. This cute box here is from Clover. I bought this in Japan, but you can find this on Amazon too. Oh, it's written Japan here. I didn't see that before, but yeah, I'll leave the link for this box here because I already found this on Amazon. Round number 2, we make 1 single crochet and 1 increase 4 times. So I will make my first single crochet here, and I mark my first single crochet with the stitch marker, and now I'll make 1 single crochet, 1 increase. We repeat the sequence 4 times, so we get 12 single crochets in the end of round number 2. I will keep making my stitches here, and I'll come back in the end of the round. So I finished round number 2 here with my last increase, and round number 2 I have 12 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 single crochets. You see that it opened a little bit here in the middle of the magic ring? You just take the remaining thread that you started the magic ring and pull it a little bit more in order to close it. Okay? Great. So now that we finished round number 2, on round number 3, we will use only the back loops. Oops. We use only the back loops and we make 12 single crochets. So back loops, mark the first stitch, although this one would be easier for us to find because we have the front loops here, but even so, I still prefer to use the stitch marker. And I'll just make 12 single crochets using the back loops. Okay, so I finished round number 3 using the back loops, and we have here 1, 2, 3 rounds. So on round number 4, we make 4 single crochets, 2 decreases, and 4 single crochets to end up with 10 single crochets, 10 stitches. So let's do it together. I'll make my first stitch here, mark it with the stitch marker. So this was my first, 2, 3, and 4. Now we make 2 decreases. So 1 decrease, second decrease, and then 4 single crochets. Well, if you cannot see this very well, it's probably because of the technique that I use to decrease, which I teach in another video here in the channel. I'll leave the link in the description down below because this technique is very special and I am proud to say that I developed it myself, and it makes a big difference when decreasing in our amigurumis, okay? So I finished this round, which is round number 4. We can count this together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 single crochets. So now from round 5 to round 10, from round 5 to round 7, we make 10 single crochets, which means that we will just repeat the sequence for 3 rounds, okay? Round 5, 6, and 7. So I will keep making these rounds because they are repetitive, and I will come back when I finish them. So I finished my first leg here, and a few things I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video. We also need scissors. I am so sorry for that. So you can cut a piece of thread like this, and let's count it together. We have the magic ring where we started. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds for the leg, okay? And another thing that I forgot to mention is the tapestry needle. This one is also from Clover, and I also purchased on Japan. Yeah, it's also in yens here. but we need tapestry needle. You can use whatever you have. These ones from Clover are very good. Something that I like to use while I crochet amigurumis are tweezers. It's something cheap and very simple that I think almost everyone has at least one pair of tweezers at home. This is very useful for stuffing amigurumis, which I can also leave the link here in the description for this video where I teach about this special technique that I created to use tweezers. Lots of people use tweezers, but I have never seen anyone using the way that I do. So that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. So you can just put the remaining thread from the magic ring inside because we still have to put stuffing inside the leg. I won't do that now. We'll do that together a bit later. And we will fasten off this remaining thread. Of course, there is another video here in the channel where I teach to fasten off. So if you don't know how to do it, I'll also leave the link in the description. So you see that I usually don't cut these remaining threads. I just put inside the amigurumi because we still have to stuff it, so it's a way to not create more garbage. Okay, so the first leg is finished. Let's repeat the sequence, okay? From round 1 to round 7, you do exactly the same, but do not cut the remaining thread because we have to join both legs. So the amigurumi is like this with no sewing. Okay, so let's make it again from round 1 to round 7, and when you finish round 7 we will come back to join both legs. Okay, so I made the second leg here, and as I told you, this one we should not fasten off because we have to join both legs. But before we join, there is something I want to show you. Observe that the feet has this little curve here, both. You see, we created this curve. We want it to be pointing forward, okay? And I mean, this is what I want, but maybe you want your dolls like this as a ballerina, or you want them with the feet like this. So you decide the position that you want the feet to be. But I want them facing forward, oops, like this, okay? Both are pointing to me, and that's what I want. So this is something that we should pay attention when joining both legs. Observe that this one is fastened off. Just so you know, they are pointing at me, okay? The last stitch of the round is here at the back. If I join this stitch here to the leg, it will be twisted like this. So I will have one leg facing forward and the other facing the sides. This is not what I want. So in order to avoid this, we will make a couple of stitches because I want the last stitch to be here in the side of the leg. But Bianca, is this a new round? No, it's not a new round. This is just a few more stitches that we do to get to the side of the leg. So depending on your stitch tension, you might need one single crochet more or two. It depends on your tension, and this is not something that I can say, okay, it will be 2 stitches and that's it, because it again depends on how do you want the feet to be. Do you want them again pointing at the sides? So maybe you shouldn't do, I did 2 more single crochets, and let me mark it here so you can see. Again, since I want them facing forward, I made 2 single crochets more. and you see that the last stitch here is facing the side of the first one that we did. So both feet are pointing at me. But if I wanted them like this, like a ballerina, I would probably need only one single crochet, or I wouldn't even need to make these extra stitches. I hope this is clear for you. So what I do is very simple, easier than people usually think. Okay, both are facing forward, and I observe because I really want to show it to you. So I observe what is the stitch next to the last one that I made here. So I made 2 extra single crochets to get to the side. This one is next to this one. Okay, so when I put this stitch with this one, I join both legs and they will both face forward. And just so you know, let me mark it here. So this was the first stitch of the last round that we made in the first leg, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just so you to know exactly where I'm placing my stitch. So I insert the crochet hook here and I make 1 single crochet. From now on, this will be the first stitch of the round. Okay, so I'll remove the stitch markers, put it here, and this is the first stitch. This is the stitch that is joining both legs. This will be the first one of the round. Okay, so first stitch of the round, and when I look, I have both feet facing forward, exactly as I want. Okay, Bianca, but what if I do exactly what you taught, and this one is like this, and this one is facing forward, this one is facing to the sides, and yeah, they look weird. You just adapt the amount of extra stitches that you made in the second leg, and you reposition this stitch that join both legs. Maybe you should put in this one or in the back. Okay, so let's continue. In round number 8, we make 10 single crochet. So this one is already the first. We make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so we made 10 single crochets in the first leg here, and we finished. So what I usually do is, can you see here that this is the first stitch of the round? We have the stitch marker, and this is the first stitch. There is a yarn coming out of this stitch here. Let me enlarge it so you can see. Okay, so we make 1 slip stitch in this same stitch here, which is the first one. So I made 10 single crochets, 1 slip stitch, and continue making 10 single crochets in the second leg. okay? So again, I have 1, 2, 3, okay, so I made the last stitch here of the round. And how many stitches do we have here? We made 10 single crochets in the first leg, 1 slip stitch in the middle, and 10 single crochets in the second leg, which means that we have 21 stitches, not 21 single crochets because there is a slip stitch here in the middle, but we have 21 stitches. And why do I do this slip stitch? Is because this way, we avoid creating holes here between the legs. If we didn't do this slip stitch, there would be probably a hole here. We can always sew, but I don't like sewing, so I prefer to do it that way, okay? So in round number 8, we have 21 stitches. Round number 9, we make 10 single crochets, we skip the slip stitch and make 10 single crochets to end this round with 20 single crochets, 20 stitches. So that's what we will do now. I will make 10 single crochets and come back just to show you what will happen in the middle of the leg when we get to the slip stitches. Okay, so I got to the middle, I made, let's count it together, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 single crochets. So if we have 10 single crochets, the next one is the slip stitch. And what we will do here is, instead of inserting the crochet hook here in the slip stitch, we will simply skip it and insert the hook in the next one, okay? So I skip the slip stitch, insert the crochet hook in the following stitch, which is a single crochet, and keep crocheting until the end of the round. More 10 single crochets to end this round with 20 stitches. Okay, so this was round number 9 and we have 20 single crochets here. Now from round 10 to round 13 we will make only single crochets. Okay, so we make 20 single crochets in each round from round 10 to round 13. I will keep making them and I will come back when I finish these 4 rounds. Okay, so I will keep crocheting here and I'll come back. Okay guys, so I finished round 13 here and I have 20 single crochets in this round. So now we start stuffing, okay? And this is the moment when comes the tweezers. They're super helpful. And this technique that I'm using here is the one that I told you I teach in the other video. It is super helpful, especially in small amigurumis like this. If you're stuffing a plushie doll, it doesn't make a big difference because you can stuff it with your fingers and you adjust like this. but since this one is so small, our fingers do not fit in the legs, for example. And this is the moment when the tweezers can be extremely helpful. I don't recommend stuffing until like the top here of the body, because we still have to continue crocheting, and it's awful when you're crocheting and you start grabbing the stuffing. It gets super messy. Okay, so you just put the stuffing inside, and now let's continue crocheting. Round 14, we make 3 single crochets and 1 decrease. Okay, we repeat the sequence 4 times, and we have 16 single crochets in the end. So I made my first stitch, mark with the stitch marker, and then we make 1, 2, 3, 1 decrease. Oops. One decrease. 1, 2, 3, and 1 decrease. So repeat this sequence until the end of the round. Okay, so I made the last decrease here. We made 3 single crochets and 1 decrease 4 times, and we have 16 single crochets in this round. Look how cute this small body is turning. So round number 15, we just make 16 single crochets. Okay, so we just repeat the single crochets. That's what I will do now, and I will come back when I finish this round. Okay, so I finished round 15 here, and I have 16 single crochets. So on round 16, we make 2 single crochets and 1 decrease 4 times. So I made the first one, put the stitch marker. Okay, so now we make 1, 2 single crochets, 1 decrease. I will just continue making this sequence until the end of the round, and we end up with 12 single crochets. Okay, so I will continue and I'll come back in the end. So I finished here round 16, and I have 12 single crochets. Now from round 17 to round 19, we will only make single crochets. Okay, so we make 12 single crochets in each round from round 17 to 19, which means 3 rounds. And I will come back when I finish these rounds. Okay, so I finished round 19 here with 12 single crochets. There is only 1 round left for us to finish this body, but we still have to stuff it. So I will put a little bit more here. Okay, so I put more stuffing inside the body, and last round we make 6 decreases, and we end up with 6 single crochets. I removed the stitch marker because usually when I have like a small crochet part like this one, stitch markers starts to bother me. So I just concentrate and hope to not get distracted and lose count. So that's what I will do right now. Okay, I'll make 1 decrease, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which is the last one. Great. So I will cut the yarn here. And before we fasten off to close this amigurumi, I want the neck to be a little bit more firm. The body is firm enough, but the neck is still, it's not. So you take small pieces of stuffing like this. And this is the part where my technique is more useful than ever. Yeah, this will be enough. So now it's firm. You see that it barely bends when I force it. And we close it with an inverted magic ring. Oh, I hate when it happens. I think this tapestry needle is too small. Let me take another one. This one is much better. So we close it with an inverted magic ring. There is another tutorial here in the channel where I teach to do it, in case you have never done that before. And that's it. And that's it. We finished the body, which is the first part. We'll now move on to the arms, which are even faster and easier to be done. I don't want you to cut this remaining thread because I will explain later what to do with it. And you will decide if you want the remaining thread or if you want it like this, okay? But for now, don't cut it. Let's crochet all the parts and then we will sew and fasten off these remaining threads, okay? Okay, so in the first part of the video, we learned how to create the body, and now we will make the arms. I already did the first one here, which is the same as this one. I just changed the color. So let's make the arms together. We start with a magic ring. And we make 6 single crochets inside the magic ring. So let's make it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now from round 2 to round number 4, we will just repeat the sequence and make 6 single crochets, okay? Okay, so we have the magic ring here with 6 single crochets, and now from round 2 to round number 4, we only make 6 single crochets in each round, okay? So we just have to repeat the sequence for 3 rounds. I'll make the second round here with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There's a reason why I wanted to do this round with you, because since it's such a small crochet piece, it tends to turn upside a little bit, and that's not what we want. We want the right side of the crochet piece to be showing off. You just bend it like this a little bit, and now it's correct. We have the first round of the magic ring, the second round with 6 single crochets. It opened a little bit the magic ring. I just pull the thread a little bit harder to close it, and that's it. Okay, it's up to you if you want to use stitch markers. I honestly don't like to use stitch markers when I have a small part of the amigurumi like this one with just 6 single crochets. I think that the stitch markers starts to bother us a little bit, so I try to concentrate and not lose the stitch count when I do this. But in case you are not an advanced crocheter, you're still a beginner and you're afraid of getting lost, please use stitch markers, because that way you won't be lost while crocheting your amigurumi. Okay, so I'll keep making my round number 3 and 4 with 6 single crochets, and I will come back when I finish. So I finished here the arms, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds with 6 single crochets. As we've done before, the remaining thread from the magic ring I put inside the amigurumi, but the arms are very small, so there is no need to stuff it. Okay, I just put the remaining thread here inside the amigurumi. It's too much. It's so big, the remaining thread, compared to the size of the arms, that I have to cut it. I don't want it stuffed, that's why. Okay, so what do we do next with the arms? You have 6 single crochets here. You insert the hook in the next stitch as if you were going to make another round, and you pass the crochet hook through both sides. You bend the arms like this, so it's a round shape. Although it's very small, you can see that it's a round shape. You bend the arms like this, insert the hook in the following stitch, and pass it through the loop in the other side of the arms like this, and you make 1 single crochet. You do the same with the following. Okay, pass the crochet hook through both sides of the arms and make a single crochet, and that's it. So you bend the arms and close it with 2 single crochets. Okay, cut a piece of thread because we are going to sew it, and that's it. We have the body and we have the arms for the first part of our Mini Funko Pop doll.